What is the meaning of credit card? Yes. Yes, Guptas.
So credit card is basically a plastic money, type of plastic money, and it is a facility that is given by the banks when we have to pay, like we have to buy a thing and we don't have money. We can like for like instantly money. So we can use a credit card to like buy or purchase the thing. Then we can afterwards we can pay this type the amount of money to the bank.
Perfect. That's perfect. Purnasri, can you give me one disadvantage of credit card or one mistake that we should avoid while using credit cards?
We should avoid paying the money late, like paying the money.
Okay. Rihanna, if you are done scrolling your new book, will you answer some questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you tell me what is the difference between credit card and debit card?
Debit card is basically where you takes the money out of a card, and a credit card is where you go to a bank and they loan you some money and you have to pay them after some time.
Okay, that's pretty much okay. But you don't go to a bank in the case of credit card or debit card, you can make transactions at the point of sale. So we call them POS transactions. Yes, Kundas.
I just want to answer like what is the difference between those two things.
Yes, please, of course.
So when we use a debit card, the funds for the amount of your like the purchase are taken from your checking account like instantly. And when like I said that the credit card is we have to pay the money like afterward. It's not instant, but debit card is instant.
Yeah, both are instant actually. See, here is the difference that when you're paying from debit card, you're basically the amount that you're paying for gets debited from your bank account instantly. When you're paying via credit card, you can pay instantly, but later on you have to actually make payments to the credit card company for the amount that you have used. That is the only difference, that you borrow money while you're using credit card, and when you're using debit card, the money comes out of your pocket, that is your personal account. Why am I asking you about debit cards and credit cards? Because today we're going to study the payment systems in India. So what are the options available via which you can actually pay in India, right? And what is the regulation that surrounds this payment systems? How is RBI going to affect the payment system of this nation? What are the rules and regulations that we have to go abide? And what are the precautions that we should take while making payments so that we are not prey to any kind of scam, or we should not fall prey to any kind of scamster? Okay, that is the reason why I asked you these questions. Also, just quickly, can you give me a difference between DD and check? Demand draft and check? We have studied both of them, right? We have studied what a check is and we have studied what demand draft is. Do you guys remember? You want me to repeat it again? Okay. So check is basically a piece or a piece of instrument that you can sign. Yes, Guntas.
I want to answer like if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, of course, answer. I want you guys to answer.
Okay. So a demand draft is issued by a bank while a check is issued by an individual. And yeah, so a demand draft is drawn by an employee of a bank, and the check is drawn by a customer of.
Okay. So the major difference is that when you sign a check and when you receive a check, there is a probability that the check can get bounced. there is a probability that if the person who has signed you a check does not have money in his or her account, that check will not be able to settle your payment. Whereas demand draft in each and every case will settle your payment, because while you go and ask your bank to issue you a demand draft, there has to be that amount which you want to pay, right? So that is the major difference, that there is a probability of default when it comes to check, but there is no probability of default when it comes to demand draft. And that these are the four major instruments which are physical in nature and are being used for payments in India. Then, of course, we have got electronic payment system. We have a hint of that also. We know what RTGS is, NEFT is, UPI is, IPS, which is a immediate payment system, that is, right? So we are going to deeply get into all of these terms in this class today. So what is a payment system? Basically, to transfer funds from one person to another. So if Guntas want to start a business and let's say she has to pay her raw material vendors, what she'll do is she'll actually be using some kind of payment system to settle that payment. For say Purnas, she want to pay certain amount to Rihanna, they are going to use a payment system. Okay, so what payment system is doing is, payment system is facilitating transactions, and transactions happen only when trade happens, only when there is some kind of buying and selling going on. Okay, so that is what payment system is called. The Central Bank of India, as I've told you, is called RBI, which is the Reserve Bank of India. It was established in 1945 and it is responsible for regulating the whole banking system. And now banks are facilitating the payments in this nation. So by default, RBI also becomes responsible to regulate the payment system of our nation. Whatever instruments that are allowed to pay in India have been regulated by RBI. If you're issuing a check, it has been approved by RBI. If you're issuing a demand draft, that particular instrument has been approved by RBI. Okay. If you have a ATM card, banks has to take approval of RBI. Can we actually issue them? If RBI says yes, that happens. So every card, every kind of instrument that you are using for payment in this nation has to be approved by RBI. Why? Because it is the regulator. Okay. So different financial institutions take permission from RBI and then they start their own platforms to actually facilitate the payments. Okay. So you would ask me, ma'am, has Paytm taken any kind of permission from RBI? Yes, it has. Has PhonePe done that? Yes, it has. There is an app called Cred. Has Cred been approved by RBI? Yes. Every kind of financial institution that is involved in the payment system has to be approved by RBI. And if it isn't been approved by RBI, in that case, that particular institution will not be able to function in this nation. So that is the role that RBI is actually playing. Okay. So Rihanna, can you tell me what ATM is? Rihanna, can you tell me what ATM is?
ATM is like a machine where you put a card and you get the money out of the machine.
Yeah, and that card is called?
ATM card.
Can you withdraw money via credit card?
No.
Any one of you?
You can, but then it's very expensive.
That's true. That's perfect. So we can withdraw money from any kind of card which comes in the category of ATM cards, credit cards, and debit cards. But we should always prefer withdrawing via debit cards and ATM cards. Why? Because credit cards is expensive. Withdrawing money from credit card is not recommended at all.